Hey guys, Off the Mic Sports Network here. One more final edition of Off the Top Rope. I swear I'll get out of your guys' hair, but I had this thought in my mind in regards to what we saw in the main event of WrestleMania. John Cena winning his 17th world title over Cody Rhodes. This was not surprising given the heel turn that happened at Elimination Chamber. But I was thinking to myself here for a second. So I've talked about the disconnect between WWE, Triple H, and The Rock. Um, Here's what I think. Well, first off, hindsight's 2020. Let's be real. The heel turn should have happened here at WrestleMania in the main event. That's what should have happened. And I understand you would have had back-to-back nights finishing with heel turns. Some people say, hey, you had to set Seth. Listen, do you guys realize that if John Cena would have won his 17th world championship in that fashion after turning heel that way, that would have been, I think, maybe even much more of an impact than the heel turn that we got. I'm not saying that the moment that we had at Elimination Chamber isn't going to stand the test of time in terms of how impactful it was, but I think we might have rushed it a little bit. I think John Cena just winning the Elimination Chamber in the way that he did, um, and then, hey, there's no sell the soul anything. You just have the babyface buildup, and you get the heel turn at the end. And maybe that finish would have made a lot more sense had John Cena just kicked Cody low, hit him with the title, with the referee down, and then you would have had the shock finish like, oh my God, John Cena turned heel and won the championship. Instead, it was he turned right before the match, and we set this whole thing up. And it's like, maybe this would maybe you could have booked it differently. Maybe Rock wanted to be a part of it and he just wanted to force the issue, and they did it at Elimination Chamber when it was convenient to him. Again, a problem. But I can't help but look at this and think to myself, God, what would have happened if John Cena would have turned heel in the main event of his final WrestleMania match? I think in that respect, it is kind of a misfire. And you can think about this, and like I said, hindsight's 2020. You don't know, and you don't know what goes on in the boardrooms and these creative writing rooms of what the context of it was, and if it was supposed to happen at WrestleMania or if it wasn't supposed to happen at WrestleMania. But listen, like again, it just makes me more angry at The Rock because um I mean, they were lucky that it didn't ruin a great story last year. They could have potentially had a good one here in having John Cena turn heel. It was a great moment that'll never be taken away. But the impact of it is kind of gone in with the flat ending to this show and the fact that there was no payoff for what happened at Elimination Chamber. Like, if you're gonna do it there, at least have that end in mind. And the problem is, you have a guy in The Rock who's just gonna come and go as as he pleases. And it's like he came for a 2 week period, and we haven't seen him. Like that's just the reality of what happened. And if you would have actually been able to get him to commit to WrestleMania and then have the whole sell your soul thing and lead that up into WrestleMania as opposed to Elimination Chamber, which is fine. It made Elimination Chamber 2025 that much more memorable, but it's just now you're like, okay, seen as a heel, we got to see what he was like as a heel, but think about what he would have been like as a heel, and we didn't get those month of promos before. Like, yeah, we got those great battles between him and Cody to set up this match, but now seeing what the conclusion of the whole feud and the whole lead up was, like, now you just look at yourself, you look around and you're like, okay, shit, that's odd. Maybe we could have done this a different way. It's like we all want a fantasy book and whatnot. But like I said, I just can't help but think like what would have happened if like it would have been like, remember WrestleMania 17, even though the payoff to that wasn't bad, at least Stone Cold turned heel in the main event of WrestleMania and it would have been much more memorable. So it's just like you said, you have these things and you could rewrite them and rewrite history and do things a certain way. But again, it goes back to what my initial point has been for several months on this channel. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I'm not going to say can't, but it's bordering on a cancer within the writing, because you know this guy can't commit to anything, and I understand that he's busy, but like if you want to help the business and you want to do a storyline like that, and like maybe we'll get some information on exactly what the timeline of this was. Was it always supposed to be the plan at Elimination Chamber to, turn John Cena heel? And maybe that's what the case was. I think Cena Cody was always the plan. Okay. Cena Cody was always the plan going into this. And maybe they wanted to turn Cena heel because they wanted Cody to get cheered. Cody got booed. So that wasn't going to change. So, you know, maybe they do it a different way and maybe it works out a different way. But like I said, just sitting here just a couple hours after the show ended and recording this for you guys, and thank you guys to the more than 1,100 subscribers and everybody who was in the chat and on the live stream with me and my sister in the peanut gallery for both nights of WrestleMania. It's just like you look at this and you'll just wonder what if it went a certain way. And that's like a lot of what sports and even sports entertainment, wrestling. It's a lot of what ifs. And the frustrating thing is in wrestling, you can control a lot of these things. Whereas in sports, it's like, okay, you make a shot here, you miss a shot there, you throw a bad pitch, you hit a home run, whatever. Like stuff happens. In wrestling, this could all have been prevented and this could have all been done a different way. And unfortunately for this situation, it didn't work out. Last year was kind of catching lightning in a bottle. It was a bad situation that got turned into a good one. This year, it went the other way. Here's hoping that next year's WrestleMania has a better ending. We had some great matches throughout this entire weekend that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for this weekend. It was the weakest Triple H Mania, but still, that being said, the last two were outstanding. So it's hard to measure up to it. And, it is what it is. But again, the sucky part about this is that's how John Cena won his 17th World Championship. Again, imagine if he had turned heel and kicked Cody low and had turned heel in the process, to set that whole thing up. And that heel turn, yes, as impactful as it was at Elimination Chamber, if he does it in the main event of WrestleMania, that's an iconic WrestleMania moment. And I think they wasted it. It might have been because of The Rock. It might have been because of creative. I don't know. But just, thinking about that, that's just, it's going to be one of the great professional wrestling what ifs. And there's a lot of them. A lot of what ifs and a lot of like, what if this would have happened? What if this would have went a certain way? We'll be asking it about WrestleMania. What if Kevin Owens was healthy and he wrestled Randy Orton? What would have happened? Like there's so many countless, like what if Rock and Roman would have happened last year? There's so many countless what ifs, good and bad. And this is going to be one of those that you're going to be wondering, okay, why? And hopefully we'll get some clarity from a lot of the reporting within this and the people who in the know about what exactly happened, because that's the biggest question I want to know coming out of this WrestleMania. And I literally have been thinking about it after doing a lot of content for you guys over the last couple days, but it's just, it's so fresh in my mind. So we'll see. But yeah, like I said, thank you so much to everybody who is subscribed, new subscribers who have, gotten in, who are in the live stream, have commented on the videos, viewership, whatever. It was a great WrestleMania build. Now we start the build to next year and we get through the season. We do so much other great content. We're going to be having, NBA stuff. And like we do sports on this channel, by the way, even though I've done a ton of wrestling in the last handful of days because it's just been a busy time. But as we close WrestleMania 41, thank you so much, everybody. It starts, the new season really starts tomorrow on, Monday Night Raw, from Las Vegas. We'll have I don't think we'll have a watch along. Maybe we will. We'll debate about this because usually there's some crazy debuts that happen. So we might have a live watch along, tomorrow for Raw and Netflix, which should be very exciting. And, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. Love y'all. See ya.